See what happens when you give a man the power to kill a god. Find out what's going on as I hereby invite everyone to join me on my adventures through Marvel Snap. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So we got the last card for this season, and that is Gorr the God Butcher. Gorr was once a peaceful character who cared deeply for his daughter and his people. He loyally prayed to his God for the salvation of his people and his daughter. This all changed after she died, and the God that he prayed to was revealed to him. This God was a spiteful, arrogant being that showed no empathy towards mortals, and mockingly dismissed any hopes that he would come to the aid of his people, or that any human had some kind of reward at the end of their lives. Gorr then mourned for his daughter and awaited his own meaningless death, until he heard the voice beckoning for him. He followed the voice and found All Black, the Necro Sword, mourning the death of his master, the Dark Shadow Lord, who had been the wielder of it. The sword explained how he needed a new master, and that it could be used to threaten the empire of the gods. So enraged by the gods, Gorr saw a new purpose for himself, and allowed the Necro Sword to rise into his hands. Gorr is now cursed by the sword, as his life is entwined with the blades. He has embarked on the campaign of slaughtering of the gods. Filled with rage at how the gods belittled his suffering, he gladly took up the goal of the Necro Sword to bring about their extinction. He has given up his old life and is now a vengeful galactic killer who seeks the extinction of all gods, and has come to be known throughout the galaxy as the God Butcher. Gorr is still a simple man who cares deeply for his people and keeps up this fight for his daughter. He has a dark sense of humor and will use it on everyone he meets to unsettle them. He has become increasingly vengeful in his old age, as his quest to kill the gods gets longer and longer. As he believes all gods are equally guilty, that all gods are arrogant, only existing to use their disciples for their pleasure, and that the only way to create a true galactic peace is by exterminating all gods, even if that means killing some of the good ones along the way. Gorr wields All Black, the Necro Sword, a sword that gives him the powers of the Dark Shadow Lord. This sword allows him to kill gods. The sword has a regenerative healing factor, healing him from all injuries, but making him retain the scars. He can also use this to traverse into the Shadow Realm, disappearing into one shadow and reappearing in another, and to call forth shadow monsters that will serve as his foot soldiers throughout his campaign of killing every god in the universe. Gorr was once a weak piece of character until the god that he prayed to was revealed to him and mockingly dismissed any hopes. So now he is a vengeful galactic killer who seeks the extinction of all gods with the help of All Black, the Necro Sword. This is represented in Marvel Snaps as he will start out as a weak character, but will gain so much more power after knowing what has been revealed that he might become powerful enough to even outpower a god. So in Marvel Snap, what this character does is he's a 6-cost -1 power that gets +2 power for each on-reveal card in play. That's both your cards and your opponent's card. So if you have 1 on reveal card, he gets +2, which makes him a 1 altogether. If your opponent has 1 on reveal card, he gets +2, which makes him a +1 altogether. If you both have 1 on reveal card, he gets +4, which makes him a 3 altogether. So I've been going back and forth on this card, trying to figure out how powerful I wanted to give this as a star rating. I've had a lot of discussion about where I wanted to put this. And at the end of the day, when I looked at everything, I had to give him a 3-star rating. Now let me go over why he's getting a 3-star rating, because I know a lot of people have ranked him a lot harder than a 3-star rating. First and foremost, we gotta talk about Red Hulk. Red Hulk is a card that is currently in play that you can currently use right now if you want to. And a lot of people don't use Red Hulk because you have to rely at least partially on what your opponent does. And that's part of the problem with Gorr itself, is that you have to partially rely on what your opponent's doing. Now, I actually just look at it as a base point, as a base level. It's a 6-0, which basically makes it a little bit weaker than even Arnim Zolas, because it's a 6-1. But that's a really weird factor to limit it to, because there is a world where you can get it all the way up to like a 620 or even over a 620. Theoretically speaking, if you have enough on reveals on your side and your opponent has enough on reveals on their side, it can go over 20 power. That's 5 on your side, 5 on your opponent's side. That gets it basically +20, -1 for it be -1, which is 19. 5 on your side, you can easily load up your deck with 5. Your opponent getting 5, on the other hand, is kind of the problem. And that's where this lies. If you're going to throw a complete on-reveal deck behind this, that's fine. You can make a complete on-reveal deck behind this. But if your opponent doesn't play a single on-reveal card, and this is where I come back to the Red Hulk. If your opponent somehow doesn't play a single on-reveal card, even if you play all the cards in your hand, which is 5 on general, 1 per turn, or a few turns where you skip and a few turns where you play extra, you're basically ending up as a 6-9 on most days. Maybe a 6-11, because you can get up to hand. Let's see, 9, 10, 11, yeah. So you can go up to 6-11. And a 6-11, 6-13 is barely around where the regular Hulk is lying. Now, there are some things that can help it out. I won't deny that. First of all, you do have some really cheap cards. There's a lot of cheap on-reveals that you can play, like Iceman. You can basically play almost a deck where you're doing Black Swan and Iceman and just wait till near the end of the turn, dump down a whole bunch of stuff of Iceman because you played the Black Swan, and then just finish it off with the Gorr the God Butcher, basically making your board non-interactable almost until turn 6. If every single card that you have is an on-reveal besides the Gorr the God Butcher and the Black Swan, you play the Black Swan on 2, and then you have enough room in your hand to have up to 7 cards. So on the last turn, you activate the Black Swan, throw down 6 1-drops, and throw down Gorr the God Butcher, and you basically giggle. Now, there are some cards that I'm going to warn you about that I don't think work with this. Like the Hulk Buster, even though it's an on-reveal, it's going to merge. So it's not going to be able to see that this is an on-reveal card. Another card that you do kind of have to worry about is the Rogue. One of the things that counters this very highly is a Rogue. You play down all your cards, and then your opponent basically knows where that Gorr's going at the end. Doesn't have priority. You go first, reveal with the Gorr, the Rogue steals it, takes all that power for itself. Another one that you kind of got to watch out for, not so much, is Cosmo. while the Cosmo won't stop the Gorr from working, it will stop all the rest of the unreveals that you have working. And while Gorr will still get the power for that happening, it's not what you put unreveals in your deck for. One of the cards that everybody's talking about and needs to be talked about every single time is Mr. Sinister, or Mr. Negative, I should say. I don't know why I said Mr. Sinister, I apologize. This is a perfect card for Mr. Negative decks because it's a -1. This flips around. If this flips around, it already has 6 power to start out with. That's huge if your opponent even has 1-2 cards. That's on reveal. Even if you throw 1-2 cards on them, then you're up to 10 power already. Also, another thing that might bring this some hope, some way of showing up in the meta is even a bad card. Like Drax, okay? Let's say somehow you got Drax off of Daily Bugle or Agent 13 or some weird instance like that. Normally you wouldn't want to play Drax for any way, shape, or form, because you're most likely going to miss with Drax. Now, even if you miss with a Drax, which is one of the worst on reveals that you could have on 4, you know that you're giving your Gorr +2 power at the end of the game. Another funny one in this is Spectrum. Spectrum is super funny because not only does it give it the +2 for being an on reveal, it gives it the +2 because the card itself is an ongoing. So, all in all, it's not bad, but there's going to be a lot of times where if you get unlucky, it would have made more sense just to throw a regular Hulk in your deck, not even a high evolutionary Hulk in your deck. Remember, for this to be better than a regular Hulk, you need it to be +12. That means there needs to be 7 cards on the board in some way, shape, or form between yourself and your opponent that are on reveal. Because if it's only 6, you'll get 6 times 2, which will be 12, which is -1 because it's still -1, which will bring it down to 1. So for this to get over the power of just a regular Hulk, not a high evolutionary Hulk, just a regular Hulk, you need 7 cards that are on reveal that are somewhere on the board. That's asking a lot. Other than Gorr the God Butcher in this particular week, we've got 2 other cards that are really weird. First of all, we've got Havoc. Havoc is a meme card. I don't even know if people who legitimately play Havoc like Havoc. And we've got Legion. Now, Legion's not a bad card. In fact, it might be one of those secret sleeper cards that nobody talks too much about. But the problem with Legion, and problems are a big word to use there, is the fact that Legion isn't a deck in itself. It's a tech card in a lot of decks, and the only deck that really has Legion as a main card needs some other big 6s to go in it, like it needs the War Machine in there. So for this particular week, I'm not sure there is a good pull on this. I mean, the Legion's not bad, but Legion will show up again. Let's see what we get, because we still roll for content. Boxes. Legion. Okay, so we got Legion this week. I have gotten Legion before, and we'll see if I did a video on him. If I haven't, I'll do a video on him. If not, I'll figure out something else. You can watch that on Friday. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, remember, play full fun.